Hey everyone, I'm here with Ozzy Rodriguez, a WordPress web designer and developer out of San Jose, California. Ozzy's a seasoned veteran of the WordPress community. He's an active blogger at OzzyRodriguez.com, the co-host of former WordPress podcast WP Bacon, and in addition to running his own WordPress business, still makes time for interviews like this one. Thanks for joining me today, Ozzy.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Did I miss any of the major points for you in the introduction there?
I wouldn't really call myself an active blogger. I've written blogs, but I have maybe 20 blogs, like blog posts that have started and then just not finished, but I need to do that. But it's always a good reminder when somebody says, oh, you should blog more, or when I tell people, oh, you should blog more, then I should take that my own advice.
Okay, cool. So by way of introduction to what we're talking about today, both for you and the audience, over at the Cohhe.com blog, we just finished up what we call WordPress Track, which is sort of like a long series of posts on one topic, titled Crafting the Perfect Freelancer's Website with WordPress. And as I was researching successful WordPress freelancers to talk to about this topic, I found you and your site, and I thought you'd be a perfect fit. Not only do you personally have a great website that promotes your own services, but as a WordPress designer and developer specifically, you can speak to the sort of underlying principles of what makes a website work, along with some general best practices for succeeding in the WordPress world as a freelancer. So with all of that in mind, I was hoping you'd maybe tell us your story first, and then we could circle back around to getting some specific questions answered about that topic. Sound good?
Sure. Sounds good.
Awesome. So Ozzy, what's your story?
My story. So, I started I've built websites I was like in high school. This was 95, 96. I probably built my first website. Pure HTML, like tons of GIFs, like terrible, but it was pretty cool for back in the day. Kept doing it. Built some stuff for like friends and family. Just kind of for fun, it wasn't I wasn't looking at it as a career, or anything like that. I think I built my first, spun up my first WordPress site. It was a blog back in '05, I think it was. Started messing around with WordPress. Got really deep into Joomla for a while. Built a few things on there. In 2012. I was laid off from my day job. I took about 6 months off, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, if I wanted to go back and try to get another job. And what I was doing, I was in more in like hardware engineering. I was a circuit board designer, so graphical stuff, right? So, took 6 months off. Got a phone call from a buddy of mine. Hey, I need a website, or I need this. He needed a website done. And so I told him, hey, why don't you pay me for it? I'm not working. And he goes, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And that's kind of where it started. He told a few friends of his, and it was fun. Like, it was enjoyable for the first time in, a long time. Like, I loved doing that work. And I kind of parlayed that into my own deal. That's kind of how I started actually, freelancing, for myself anyways. So it's kind of I don't know very many other people with that kind of story, but it's works out for me. So
awesome. Diving into the topic of successful freelancing, particularly in terms of like what it takes to have a website that converts for clients and stuff who you're looking for. One of the sort of underlying themes of the series was the concept of objective-based design. The idea that, when you're putting together a website, you want to know what every element of it is, its primary objective is, and you don't want to deviate from that. For those who are so is objective-based design an approach that you endorse and that you use on your website and your projects?
I do. So I guess my approach, probably the most important thing before you even start designing anything or building anything, is knowing, like, as far as like having a website that converts or that does well, is knowing who like your target audience is, I guess. And then, so every element that goes into the website, should be targeted or should be focused on that, on a goal, like, for your audience, for what it is that they're looking for what it is that they need.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm understanding your question correctly, but
Sure. Let me
I
rephrase
guess,
it.
yeah.
For anyone running their business on a WordPress website, it would seem like the primary objective would actually be pretty straightforward. You want to convert direct sales, capture leads, and/or start a booking conversation. And that seems to be what you've done with your own site to a lot of extent. So how important has that been to keeping a steady flow of clients for you? And would you recommend that to other people?
Oh, definitely. I get a few leads. You get some really, you don't get the, not every lead is a great lead from your website. But definitely it's definitely helped me out. And I've learned, like, if you were to go back, like in the Wayback Machine, and look at what I originally started off with, or what I was trying to do, it's kind of evolved, and I'm actually in the middle of redesigning my own site. I need to carve out a chunk of time to redo it. But yeah, I think, it's evolving, it's learning too. Times change, and so you need to change with those times. And you need to stay current too. You can't just leave your site stagnant. You need to kind of go with the times as they change. But yeah, no, it's as I've learned more, working on client sites, working on my own sites, just working on, passion projects that we all have. You definitely learn, like, oh, well, this works, or this doesn't work, or this works with this kind of audience or this kind of site, and it doesn't work with this one. And it's all about, putting those puzzle pieces together. But yeah, it's definitely, I still like my site. I don't love it anymore. But
we're always critical on ourselves, right?
yeah, you know what? I liked it when I first built it. I thought it was really cool. And then now it's like, it's time for something new. So it's coming.
Yeah. So when you're working with a client, do you have a specific method for narrowing down their objective before you get into the heavy lifting of the design itself?
Definitely. Like I alluded to before, one of the most important things, at least for me, is, getting to know the client, their business, what it is that they do, and then who it is that they do it for. Like, who's their target audience, and then doing some research on that, like putting yourselves in their audience's shoes. What is it that they want out of a site, or what is it they want, a site to do for them? So I think that's before you even start, putting a pencil to a paper, or, opening up something like OmniGraffle, I definitely do a ton of research on the client themselves, and what's going to help them. Because it's not a one size fits all type of deal.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's huge. And I've seen more of that, from when I first started, way back when, to when I started kind of my freelancing career, and then to now. It's definitely, like, you see more freelancers doing that, or more companies doing that. So yeah, I think that's huge.
Cool. So let's talk tools for a second. Every job's going to be different to some extent, but do you have like a set or a list of WordPress themes and plugins that basically go with you from project to project?
Yeah. So plugins. I use a big advocate of Gravity Forms. I've wanted to start looking at, like, Formidable and Ninja Forms, but Gravity Forms, like all the Yoast plugins, like the Yoast SEO,
right,
premium or not, or the analytics, premium or not. Those are all really good. If it's like a brick and mortar business, I use the Yoast local SEO, which helps with schema stuff. What else do I use? I use MigrateDB Pro to kind of go back and forth between, either a live site or a dev site in my local environment. Let me see what else. I don't really have I use Genesis quite a bit, as far as like a parent theme. I work with a bunch of other stuff. I've started working with Compass, and I really like that too.
Okay.
Which is kind of based on hybrid core. It was. I talk to Rob every now and then still. He was the other guy on WP Bacon. He was WP Bacon.
Oh, really?
Um, and then so but yeah, so he built that kind of from the ground up, and it's really cool. And I urge people to go try it. Um, but yeah, so those are the major ones. There's other plugins that I use here and there, but for the most part, those are like the standard ones that I have whenever I spin up like a local install. It's those
Oh,
those
okay.
plugins every time. Yeah.
So aside from these plugins and tools, what do you have like a criteria or a way that you go about choosing tools for like one-off tools for different clients?
Um, Recommendations. I'll ask other developers what they do. I try not to pick plugins where, if they're either brand new or they're not built by somebody that I know, or that I can trust their code,
Hmm.
as far as like the longevity or um, so. But if they serve a purpose, the most I try to stay away from plugins that kind of do everything for everyone. And I try to pick a plugin or do something that's very like direct to that single purpose, which usually means that they do that extremely well, right?
Hmm.
If you pick plugins that, oh well, this plugin does this and this other thing and this other thing, they become kind of a jack of all trades plugin, instead of being, oh, this is what this does, and if you want something else, and it does this really well. It might not do this other stuff, but you might be find something else, or you can
Hmm.
custom build something else to fill in some of the gaps. Um, but yeah, I try to steer away from like it's same thing like most seasoned WordPress people that work in WordPress, they stay away from those themes that are, oh, they do absolutely everything,
Hmm.
for that same reason, just because they don't do one thing well. Um, so I don't. Other than that, I don't really have Other than those things, I don't really have a criteria for like picking a plugin for something or picking a theme for something. Most of the themes that I build are custom, either custom child themes.
And you're a fan of Genesis, correct, in that respect?
Genesis, yeah. Genesis is great for that. Like they've been around for a while. That's the other thing when you're picking something, and you want to give new and up and comers a chance, and you want to see them succeed. Um, but they've been around. Like Studio Press has been around for a while. Copy Blogger's been around for a while. So you like to see that track record.
Yeah.
I really like what the guys at Flagship WP SiteCare are doing with Compass, though. That's I kind of see that, like the theme development kind of going in that direction.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean Genesis is still really good, and they have tons of child themes out there, and um, they support all of them. They frequently update everything, so that's always nice. So that's kind of what you want to see
Yeah.
when you're doing stuff.
For other freelancers who are basically doing what you're doing, is there any specific tools that you use to help you book and manage clients?
I use Bid Sketch to write my proposals. I use FreshBooks for my invoicing. Um, I use so I'm really bad about like project management tools like Asana or um, like Basecamp or whatever. It just seems like for a lot of overhead. Like I think those are great for like really big projects.
Hmm.
Projects that are gonna, they're gonna take a year to build, or 6 months or whatever to do. Um, but some companies out there, no matter how small the task is or how small the job is, they start another project in Asana um, or like Basecamp. So I'm not one of those, but I definitely, not that you shouldn't do it.
Sure.
I just, for me, I can kind of manage everything outside. I'm pretty good with email and calendaring and stuff like that. So, but yeah, as far as, I use, those are the tools I use for my invoicing and my proposals and stuff. They do a really good job. The cool thing is that BidSketch and FreshBooks talk to each other. Um, so
Nice. Let's jump to another subtopic: essential pages or elements of your freelance website. I think just in general, people's idea of what is essential on a website has changed a lot in the last couple of years. We're seeing big pushes for super simple single page or long scrolling page websites that, don't necessarily have multiple pages, just multiple sections. In your mind, what are your essential pages or elements that every freelancer's website needs to have in order to, function properly?
it depends. So I mean, you need a homepage, whether it's a single scrolling page or not. But you need something that's gonna when people arrive, it's gonna. I like very clear messages to be displayed right when you get there. Definitely a contact page. For some, I'm one of those. I know that I know some freelancers out there. They have a company and they say stuff on their website like we and us and. So they try to make themselves out bigger than they are. I don't do that. And so I don't have an about page, although I think that's a pretty important page. And when people ask me about that,
your homepage almost functions as an about page in a lot of
right,
ways.
right. And so that's why I did it. It's like, well, the whole thing is me, right?
Yeah.
So that, it's all about, everything is about me and what I can do for you. And so an about page would kind of be like, duplicate,
a bit redundant.
But for for a lot of freelancers, an about page would work great for them, and it might be something necessary. Definitely for a freelancer, depending on how many projects you've done or the kind of work that you do, like a portfolio section. Testimonials are good. If you're just starting out, those are kind of hard. But you build those up over time. But definitely. I mean, be true. Like let who you are shine through whatever it is you're doing. Whether it's a single page website or it's you've built out this huge thing. Make sure that it's like the message is clear that you're trying to send. People get lost, I think, in trying to overcomplicate things. I don't think it has to be that complicated. But yeah, I mean, there's a few, definitely a contact page, a request a quote. I have them in different spots. Some people put them in the same spot. Some people don't have a contact page, like the request a quote page is the contact page. But some version of that make it really easy for people to contact you if they want to get a hold of you. It doesn't just have to be in one spot. It can be in a few different spots. That's what you want people to do when they come to your site, is to contact you. So make it as easy as possible for them to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I wanted to ask is, what are some common mistakes you see, freelancers make on their websites? You just mentioned a couple, like not having a contact or quote section. Are there any others that stick out to you as well?
It depends on the kind of freelancing you're doing, I guess. Make sure your make sure your website's really nice. But make sure that your portfolio, like if you have a portfolio section, make sure that the stuff that you put on there can be seen as high quality, and make sure that either your site doesn't overshadow it, or it's okay for like some of the stuff in your portfolio to be better than your own site.
Sure.
But the other way around, it kind of looks. I think it kind of gives I think it's kind of a a bad look. If
right. If your site's amazing and all your client work is subpar.
Yeah. So that's it's something that I don't think that's a good look. So, I've seen quite a bit of that. So it's just something to keep in mind. And then I guess maybe the verbiage that people use on their site. Like I know a lot of one-man shops, and they use tons of we and us, and they try to make themselves out to be bigger than they are. To maybe attract a certain kind of client. I haven't seen that that's, affected me one way or the other. I tell people very honestly, well, if I take on the work, I'm gonna do the work. I have a couple people that help me out, but it's on an as needed basis, um, and it's, that shows on my site. It's I and me, and whenever I use we, it's me. I use it in a form of like myself and the client,
Yeah.
as the we. So, I guess just be honest, on your site. Don't make yourself out to be anything that you're not. If you fancy yourself like a WordPress developer, make sure that you talk about it. But make sure that you put everything that you put on your site that you're able to do, or like your experience is actually honest and you can do it.
Yeah.
The worst thing is for somebody to come to you and, oh, can you do this? And you say, oh yeah, sure, I can do it. And you've never messed around with it before and you've never done it. And then you can't complete the project.
Yeah.
That's not a good look either. So, but yeah, just be honest, be transparent. I guess is what the mistakes that I see others making that they should probably fix. Just be a little bit more transparent, and that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. So maybe finish up. We're getting around 20 minutes, so we'll hit the last 4-5 questions here. Talking about just promoting your website. So you got it built, you've optimized it, you got all the essential elements in place. What are some things you've had success with in terms of building some type of recognition or bringing, traffic or clients to you?
Let me see. So it's really tough at first, right? But I mean, the WordPress community is pretty open, and everybody, there's tons of people out there that are willing to help, and so I would say, start reaching out and not just, use stuff like Twitter, or I'm not a huge fan of Facebook. I definitely like Twitter. Join Slack channels of WordPress people. Meet out there. Once you start making friends with people, and they're all like-minded individuals. They all do the same thing that you do. Doing podcasts or being on interviews like this. It's all great just to get your name out there, get you some notoriety. I've done a few interviews. I've done like, I did WP Bacon, and it's not so much. So when you do it, I didn't do it. I don't do the interviews, to get client work or to do this, but it's definitely to get your name out there. It's kind of a marketing thing. But just get out there and meet people. Go to WordCamps or go to meetup groups like in your area. There's probably one in your area, but it's just getting out there, meeting people. And that's how you get your name out there. It's like anything. It's a little different just because you're building stuff for the internet on the internet. But you can still follow the same stuff. Just get out there and meet people, get to know people. Those relationships that you build, they'll, like anything else in life, they'll carry on with you for a while. So, but that's what I would do. That's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
Just try to immerse myself in the community, and so.
So is blogging? You said you're not a super active blogger. And I've seen people asking this question recently. They're like, I'm not a blogger. Like, I don't like to write. Do you think that other things like podcasting or like creating videos or just alternate means of building, community around your personal brand, are those viable in your opinion?
Oh, definitely. Like anything that you can do. I mean, what is a blog? When you write a blog post, you're just writing what you think. And if you don't like to write,
say it, or
right, and you put it up on YouTube, or you put a thing. If you want to teach somebody how to do something, for the most part, if you write like a tutorial on how to do something, making a video is a good idea to add to it as well. But yeah, if you're not I see people, oh, you need to like blog every day. Writing's great, and I really don't like to write myself either. But yeah, do anything to get out there or to do something. Make videos or be on other people's podcasts, or and I've often found like guest blogging or writing stuff for others is easier than writing for yourself. They give you a topic, or they give you an idea of how to do something. But yeah, it's just, do you have to, is it good to write blogs, to write blog posts? Definitely. Is it good to do it all the time? Do you have to do it if it's something you don't like to do? No, don't do it. Don't force yourself just to, I mean, that's why you become a freelancer, right?
Yeah.
Is to get out, not do stuff that you don't want to do, or not work with people you don't want to work with, and don't do it. But yeah, no, any of those, making videos, or the videos are really cool, and they're fun to make. I like doing it. So, but yeah, just do anything.
So I like to end with just a sort of final takeaway thought. If there's like one thing, like if someone's starting out and they're taking in all this information, they've read the series, they've watched this video, that's a lot to keep in your head all at one time. So what's the, like, if you had to start over again, what's the one thing that you would keep in mind going into your freelance career that you feel like would be sort of like your central guide to getting it right? Yeah.
So I guess two things. Don't forget that you should always be learning or trying out new things, to do new things. That's how you're going to get better. If you're a freelancer like myself, you end up working a lot by yourself, and go check out a book on some new language, or some new whatever at the library, or go buy one on Amazon, read it on your Kindle, or you can actually get the hard book yourself, or if I don't know if they still make those very much, but and then the other thing is just do good work. Like, I always say that, and I can't express that enough, is do good work. Like that's going to be better for your marketing than anything else you can do. If you're getting tons of clients, right? And you'll get to the point where you are, but you're failing your clients, you're not meeting their needs, like it's going to go off the rails. And so just do good work for everything that you take on. Do it to the best of your ability. If you're not going to be able to do it to the best of your ability, if it's like a scheduling conflict, let the client know, or whatever. But that's one of those, when I first started out, like, yeah, no, I can do that. I can do that. Working 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day. And that sucked. And I wasn't doing my best work. Once I dialed it down a bit, and people understand, like, you tell them, oh, I don't have time to do that right now. I might have time to do that, next week or next month. And I can fit you in the schedule, and we'll get it in. But yeah, just do good work, and that's going to help you out more than anything. And get better with your work, like be able to do more, and, more interesting work and stuff, but always be learning and always do good work.
Perfect. That sounds like a good parting thought. Thanks so much for being with us, Ozzy. Really appreciate you making the time, and I'm sure everybody's going to really enjoy this video.
I hope so. Thank you for having me again.